Well, 33 points to 21. It finished Western Province with a dominant second half. 2 tries, 1 conversion and 2 penalties, which seized the game. For the presentation, let's go down to Matthew Pearce.
Well, thank you very much, Joel Stransky. We are ready with the presentation ceremony for the 2017 Currie Cup, and I'd like to welcome our presentation party, the President of SARU, Mr. Mark Alexander, the Deputy President of SARU, Mr. Francois Davids, franchise owner of Nashua, Peter Maritzburg, Mr. Nad Naidu, Robert Guerengwe, the Direct Access CEO, and a huge thank you to the sponsors of this year's Currie Cup, Nashua and Direct Access. Mr. Francois Louis, the President of the KwaZulu-Natal Rugby Union and the President of the Western Province Rugby Football Union, Mr. Thello Wakefield. Before we get to the Players' Awards, I'd like to ask the match officials to come and receive their tankards from the SARU President, Mr. Mark Alexander. First of all, Jaco Paper, who refereed his 3rd Currie Cup final today, along with TMO Marius Jonker and assistant referees Egan Seconds and AJ Jacobs. Congratulations to our match officials, and particularly to Jaco Paper for his 3rd Currie Cup final and 2nd consecutive final. Next, I'm going to ask Mr. Nad Naidu of Nashua and Mr. Robert Guerengwe from Direct Access to present the Man of the Match award for today's Currie Cup final, and that is awarded to Western Province Centre Hugh Jones. Congratulations, Hugh. Just come over and have a word. The smile says it all. 2 tries in a Currie Cup final before you make your departure north. I guess there may be some bittersweet thoughts right now.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be lying if I said I didn't shed a tear before the game. But yeah, I mean, the perfect send-off. I couldn't have wished for anything better. It was amazing.
Just tell us about the season and how this group has grown. You've had some ups and downs, but in the last 3 weeks when it's mattered most, you've really turned it on.
Yeah, we've had a topsy-turvy season, but I think the tightness of this group has really shone through, and it's shown in the last couple of games. We've hit some nice form, and I think it showed today in that second half.
You must be delighted that at least Ollie Kebble's waiting for you in Glasgow.
I can't wait to see him.
Well, congratulations to Hugh Jones, our man of the match today. Straight on with the awards ceremony, and I'm going to ask the Sharks team to come and collect their awards, and then we're going to have a word with their captain, Ruan Botha.
Well, as the Sharks make their way up there, it's always a tough and bitter pill to swallow. These players certainly put their hearts and souls on the line. They defended like Trojans. They gave it their absolute all. They just got outdone in the second half by a better Western Province team. Odro Ndungani, and photo there with his young daughter. What a servant he's been for Natal Rugby over the years, and certainly can be very proud of his efforts. Opened the scoring today with a super try in the corner. The conversion from Bosch was excellent, but it was Western Province who struck back through Hugh Jones. And well, the Sharks led at half-time 21 points to 15. Western Province controlled the second. Sad way for that man's career to end, but boy, he's been a great servant for the home team, and we do thank him and wish him well as he embarks on the next career of life, whatever it may be. Worrying too for Alistair Coetzee as we see Jean-Luc Dupree on the crutches. He sustained a serious, by the look of things, ankle injury in the 21st minute and had to leave the field. He would certainly have been penned into that Springbok squad that is announced later to go on tour. And well, Alistair Coetzee will be thinking heavily about how he replaces him. Captain Ruan Botha makes his way up. He has led this team absolutely brilliantly in 2017, 25 years old and plenty of years of leadership to come, but today was not his day.
Well, Ruan Botha is with me. Ruan, I know disappointment right now as you immediately reflect on the final, but an incredible season to look back on, a one that really swung on about 15 minutes of that second half.
Yeah, no, well done to Province for winning this. It was a good game from them. They played really hard. They came at us the second half and we fell asleep. But you know, the guys got stuck in this whole season. We played an incredible season. We just want to thank the fans that was out here for the support. Sorry we dropped you for not bringing the cup home, but you know, there's another year.
Tell me about some of the leaders that have been around you personally in this campaign, Ruan, and one in particular in Odwa Ndungane who bids his farewell.
Yeah, no, well, we had a lot of experience in our team with Michael Claessens, Louis and Keegan and Odwa. You know, Odwa, amazing person on and off the field, amazing career for him. Sorry we couldn't give him a proper farewell, but blessings for him in his future and his family.
Well, Ruan, congratulations on a superb season. You led the log, and I know there's disappointment right now, but a fantastic 2017 Currie Cup.
Yeah, no, well, the Lord has blessed me for this whole team through a proper season without any injuries. So the first thanks goes out to him, and we'll be back next year.
Thanks, Ruan.
Thank you very much.
So that's the Sharks captain, Ruan Botha, and now the moment that the Western Province players have waited patiently for. They are going to come forward and collect their awards with Chris van Zyl, the captain. Towards the end, we'll have a quick word with Chris.
Well, some of these fans have travelled long distances to witness this afternoon, and their team have certainly not disappointed. Massive effort from the Western Province team, particularly in the front row, where JC Janse van Rensburg, Bongbi Mbonambi and Wilkalo in particular were just superb. They dominated the scrums, set a huge platform. The outside backs performed. Hugh Jones was man of the match with a whole lot of good, including a couple of tries. Robert Dupree controlled territory well in the latter stages, and for the whole of the season, the second row, Schickerling has carried the ball well and worked hard, and the leadership of Chris van Zyl has stood out enormously. A couple of experienced campaigners have supported him in a big way too. Janne Vermaak off the bench, and in the starting lineup, Duval Duvenage comes with a whole lot of experience as well. A lot of youngsters here that will carry this team going forward, the likes of Damian Willemse, Ruan Nelt and Lades. Looking through the loose forward trio, who this afternoon, Kubis Visa, still under 21, had a huge game. And as much as Western Province controlled possession in the first half, they didn't control the scoreboard. They left that till the second half. And when they did get ahead, it was very well orchestrated by the coaching staff. And that man there, John Dobson, can take a bow. He spoke about carrying the ball, keeping the ball in hand. Didn't quite come together in the first half. It did in the second, and once they got ahead, Robert Dupree put ball on foot, controlled the territorial game, controlled the way the game was played, the areas the game was played, and Western Province made the closure of the game look pretty easy indeed, which will please this man absolutely no end.
Chris van Zyl, a happy captain of Western Province. You've been a man of relatively few words at post-match interviews this season. Can we have a few more today?
Matt, I'm over the moon. Flippin' so proud of these guys. You know, it was up and down season, but you know, somewhere in the middle we started to really believe that we were going to win this thing, and from there we just knew it was going to happen.
You've been at the nerve centre of this forward effort. There was some debate amongst the commentators about man of the match. Is it Hugh Jones, or is it the entire front row or the tight five? What a performance from them.
Yeah, I must be honest, I think Hugh Jones is quite lucky, and I'm his roommate as well. I'll tell him he didn't deserve it. No, unbelievable performance by the forwards, and you know, we spoke the whole year about how the scrums is going to win us the competition, and today that was exactly the difference, and I'm really proud of the boys, and the lineups are outstanding, and so happy.
Chris, a big change in the second half. It was poised on a knife edge going into half-time, but there was a different intent, a different game plan in that second 40.
Yeah, I think we knew if we held the ball, we could build the phases and make a difference, and that was our intent, and I'm really happy with the guys.
I think you probably want to go and get involved right now. We're going to ask you to step over onto the podium. Mark Alexander, the president of SARU, is waiting, along with the other dignitaries, to award you the 2017 Currie Cup. Enjoy it.
Thanks very much, Matt. Cheers.
So Chris van Zyl, the victorious Western Province captain, making his way over. The celebrations have certainly started for his team, but they're about to go up a notch.
Well, great scenes of jubilation here for Western Province, 2017 Currie Cup champions. Not their most complete season, winning 8, losing 5. And most importantly, 2 weeks ago, winning here in Durban to win themselves a home semi-final, from which they came through against the Lions, and they have once again won here in Durban for the second time in 3 weeks. A scintillating effort from the front row forwards, Wilco Low in particular. The back line, Hugh Jones scoring 2 tries, have propelled this team to champions here in 2017. It's been a wonderful Currie Cup season, filled with loads of tries, loads of great games of rugby, and most importantly a sensational final. Hard luck to the Sharks. They were gallant, they were enormous, but the champions for 2017 from Cape Town are Western Province.
Well, it's a VP jou lekker ding in Durban today after that cup final. Absolutely phenomenal second half by the visitors. There was 18 unanswered points in the second half. It was 21-15 at halftime, and it ended 21-33. Well done to Province, and they win themselves a 34th Currie Cup title, which really is quite impressive. And yet again, when these two teams plays, it seems it's the home side, it's the away team that seems to have the upper hand on the scoreboard when it comes to the end of 80 minutes. But a wonderful game of rugby, particularly in that first half.
Yeah.
And possibly, I say that possibly because the Sharks just didn't seem to have the contestation in them in the second. But you've got to congratulate Western Province. Their scrum was superb, and that's where it all started, Nick.
Absolutely. I mean, well played to Western Province. I thought a thoroughly well constructed and well organised win. Special mention, head coach John Dobson. He won his SuperSport Rugby Challenge, that trophy, with Western Province, and now he's managed to win the Currie Cup. And his coaching staff, Shimmy, obviously involved, our SuperSport, Hanyani Shamangi,
So he hasn't got a voice left.
who was involved with the scrums and the lineouts, set pieces. You've got Davy Snyman, who's the attack coach, and Norman Laker, the defence coach. And they've worked really hard with this team. Western Province obviously is coached by this group, and then Flecky takes the Stormers next year. But a really successful season, having started not so well, losing to the Pumas and the Griquas. We did say before the game that the scrums were going to be very important, and they are. You know, they were critical in this game. The Sharks were under pressure the entire time in the scrums. I can't see how Wilco Low does not play tight head for the Springboks on tour. Yeah. He was absolutely magnificent in this game. In this scrum there, in fact, Janssen van Rensburg gets the better of Geldenhuys. And we said before the game, we said that unfortunately Geldenhuys is a very good rugby player, but he has scrummaging issues. And he's had scrummaging issues all his life. And if you don't have a tight head, it doesn't matter whether you're playing at home or you're playing away, you're going to get crucified. I think there were 4 scrum penalties in this game. and Western Province just absolutely dominated this area of the game, allowed them comfort on the exit and allowed them stability on attack, and they just put the Sharks under severe pressure every time they got the ball. The possession stats were incredible, 65% possession from Western Province, and they completely deprived the Sharks of the ball in the second half. Held on to it. I thought Jones Carr played brilliantly. I thought Willemse, Ashwin's very proud of this, but I thought Damien Willemse at 15, coming in at 10, was a real factor, and Dupree played well at 10. Just a couple of stats here: 17 tackles missed by the Sharks against 7 for Western Province, only 7 in the whole game because they held on to the ball for so long. But the ruck stats, rucks and mauls, 71 rucks and mauls for Western Province, only 38 for the Sharks. Just total possession domination. Patience was shown by the attacking strategy of the Stormers, held on to the ball really well, and deserved winners. It really was a good performance. As I said, the scrum was critical. Wilco Low, I think, is vital to the Springboks going forward. You have a good, strong tight head. You can put opposition under pressure, and you can make sure that you have secure ball all through the game.
Nas, I mean, we do want to talk about everybody else on the field and the fly halves. It was really a fascinating battle, at least up front. And in that first half, we saw Currie Bosch really look as though he was dominating certain aspects of the game. But behind a regressing or retreating scrum, there's no space. Decision-making becomes incredibly difficult, and he unfortunately ended up battling a little bit defensively as well.
Yeah, but in the first half, they sort of managed going backwards in the scrums, and he managed it actually quite well at fly-off. But, sometimes it takes 60 minutes before you break the wall. Now, today it was from the first minute. Sharks were under pressure in the scrums, and it actually took him, 55 minutes. And then at the end, Province took over, and they did. And it made it very difficult then for Bosch. And if you look at the second half of Robert de Pre, absolutely brilliant. Going forward, taking on the loose forwards.
We spoke about his physicality.
He's taking on loose forwards. So that means there are gaps on the outside, because instead of them going on counter across the fence, they can't be there because he's keeping them busy. And then also we spoke about Bosch being on the outside, on the blind side wing, on the fence, and to be honest, the Province actually sussed it out nicely, because they did play on him on the blind side, and Sanatla actually beat him on the one occasion, and they scored. And see, that's, for me, it's smart play, Nick. It's because you look at what the opposition is doing, you work out there might be an opportunity, and they did take the opportunity, and they put the pressure on. So, we said it on a number of occasions. If your tight five is good enough, then whoever is going to control there will start controlling at fly-off. And that's precisely how it worked out today. At the end, Robert controlled the second half. Why? Because his tight forwards did all the hard work for him.
Actually, if you take a look at these two teams, we sort of set it up as two teams who play a very different style of rugby. You'd have to say that the Sharks, yes, tended to play a very forward-dominated game throughout the season, but Western Province today showing great patience, and I think that's probably what counted in their favour, eventually, as Nas says, turning over that tide.
Chris van Zyl, right at the end there in the interview, he made mention of the fact that they went throughout this year and there was a point where they started believing that they can take it all the way. And I think the slow poison that approached by Western Province today was really, I think that was evident of their belief, the confidence in that they can take this all the way. The odds were against them as a team. They having had to go to Durban, and we'd like to believe that the home advantage was with the Sharks. But the win for the province, I think it was 2 weeks ago when they had in Durban. I think that psychologically must have boosted them for this game. If you go through this team, you see that for Western Province, they had all the makeup. They had the players, they've got the names, the quality is there. So it's a matter of how they were able to sort of implement it. And I think the Sharks, for the first half, they came out and they were able to nullify any threat from Western Province. So they stopped their momentum. They realized they were under pressure at scrum time. So they tried to come up with alternatives of how to counter that. They were defensively very organised. The Sharks, I mean, look at the celebrations. What does it mean? That's in Durban. I mean, that's just almost unfair, you know, to be there and sort of, you know, walk around the stadium, you know. But it just shows you what this means for the players as well, because, you know, to go all the way to Durban, you've had a good season. You come up against the Sharks, who's top of the lock going into this final. You know, so it was a big ask from Western Province. You know, by no stretch of the imagination. And so for them to go there and get this win, if people are still there. So as a Sharks supporter, you know, even as a player, I think, you know, it's a terrible feeling to be able, at home, you've just lost the final. But now the question is, why did Western Province end up winning this final? That try that they scored just before halftime, where they've taken the score from, I think it was 21-10 at the time to 21-15. Crucial moment in this game. But another one was the interplay between Damien Willems and Robert de Preer, both fly halves. And there was a moment in this game where Damien Willems got the ball as first receiver. That was what led to the try of Dylan Lates. His ability as first receiver to understand the space, have time on the ball, spin out of the tackle and get the ball away to the try that was scored by Dylan Lates. I think that moment also a crucial one for Western Province. So that interplay between the two of them was critical in this game. The outside backs, Willems, Senatla and Lates, that these guys were playing defensively, they were good, well organized. And then I think perhaps where the key was for Western Province, we know the tight five, we know the quality, the foundation that they've laid. But Nizamka, Kobus Wiese and Noche, how they played together, their impact in this game, I think was what gave Western Province the other upper hand. If you look at the count, Nick, you mentioned in terms of the stats, the rucks and mauls, that's where the difference was. To be able to secure your own ball when you go down into a ruck, to be able to contest on the opposition ball, that's the work for these loose forwards, and they were able to maintain that, even though on the scoreboard they were behind. So I think the Sharks, at least they won half the game, victorious in the first half.
Just, if, you know, speaking from a Sharks point of view, I mean, obviously the scrum was very disappointing, but I think two key moments in this game. Jean-Luc Dupree going off with what looked like an ankle injury, which is going to be 3 to 4 weeks. Now, that's bad for the end-of-season tour. And he's a really good rugby player who is critical to the way that they wanted to dominate this game, that he was a big, strong ball carrier. And then his brother, Dan, got sent off with 10 minutes to go for coming in from the side, taking a play out. Paper was very clear that not only was there was a previous penalty for playing the ball on the ground, and if you have a look here, it's really frustrating. Look at him come in from the side and just smoke that Province player. I mean, that's not from behind the ball; it's right in front of the Dylan Lates getting cleaned out there, right in front of the referee. So two key players, those two brothers. I mean, here you've got a father who's the coach. I mean, what is going to happen in that Dupree household tonight, where you've got Robert Cocker Hoop, he's going to be chuffed as hell. The other two, one with an ankle injury, another bloke off.
Robert will make that dinner tonight, huh?
I think they're going to be straight back to Cape Town.
Yeah, they're going to be sleeping in separate houses, I think, tonight.
Yeah, but Nick, the most important thing is, you know, to add to that is you saw throughout the game, Jacob Paper absolutely strict on how you approach the second phases, rucks and mauls. You can't come from the side. So, but you take a situation like that, that's really feeling pressure. Because, you know, everybody told you the whole week, you know, it's a Durban final and it's going to be Sharks. And then suddenly you start feeling the pressure. You're not getting the ball in hand. It's Stormers putting the pressure on. So, you know, you can see frustration coming out there. But unfortunately, you should read the ref and you should know some days you get away with it, sometimes you don't. Today. And today was you don't.
I think another point to that is that if you look at the Sharks, there was the one where Cohen Bosch took the drop goal, you know, a wonderful drop goal to be able, but they went back at that scrum. It was a scrum, they were going backwards, so Province really dominating that scrum, and then Cohen Bosch with landing this drop goal. You know, you could see that they saw pressure, change, come up with some intervention, get the points, but that stopped after a while, because then Province just came together as a team, and that just shows you when you know as a team, if we can just get, and it's a shift of momentum. Every team is hoping to shift the momentum to their strengths of the game. Province were unable to shift the momentum towards their strength or the game, the flow and the pace of the game. That happened in the second half. And when they got the momentum and the pace to shift towards their game, what they were trying to implement, they never allowed the Sharks back into the game.
Yeah, but sorry, Nick, to add to that, the thing is, what I needed today is for Bosch to add 100% kicking.
Yeah. Missed 3 penalties.
Yeah, and see, when in those circumstances, if the scoreboard ticked over, it might have been slightly different for their whole psychological side of the game. But then he missed 3 vital kicks for them today,
but
the way they played today.
Just if I could just look at the Province performance, and when we think about how you play and how you construct a victory, clearly the set piece was good. Their scrum was excellent. They kept putting pressure. Even in the first half, they got penalties for a powerful scrum. So the Sharks came out of the blocks, home game, a lot of passion, a lot of intensity, but it was, as we've mentioned, slow poison. Eventually they found that they were on the back foot. What I really liked about the way that Western Province played was they played a possession-based game for long periods, holding on to it without, very patient. They didn't make many line breaks because the defense of the Sharks was reasonable, but they held on to the ball and got penalties. Usually
built nice momentum.
Lovely momentum. And then in the second half, when they got ahead, I thought that there was some strategical kicking with the wind behind them that was very effective. And so there's a place for everything in a game of rugby. You know, the set piece is vital. Moving the ball, not just taking it off 9, but using it through the centres, counter-attacking well, using the width of the field, kicking when it's right to kick because the communication has come through. And I thought it was a skillful display by Western Province today, and a 23-man display. Really, it's very positive for South African rugby when you see a side control a game in the way they managed to control that away from home. It's not easy.
Isn't there a trend there? I saw a nice tweet from @GridSports, and I'd have to somewhat agree, saying Sharks have failed to win the battle in the second half in the last 3 weeks. And we saw that in the semi-finals. We saw that the week before when Province won in the last round as well. It seems that they start like a house on fire, but then seemingly lose some sort of momentum in attack, Ashwin, in the second half. So it's not just today. It's happened in the last couple of matches.
They did start like a house on fire, and then ultimately the house burned down, you know, so, excuse the pun, but, so...
Oh, they insured.
Well done.
But the reason is to what Nas has pointed out is, you know, Sharks needed Cohen Bosch to kick every penalty to land all of those drop goals, and this is the difference, I think, fundamentally between the two teams, is that the Sharks were hoping to get everything right from perhaps an individual. Whereas with Province, you could see throughout this game, in the first half, we saw that there were so many touches where the Sharks, if the ball just has stuck to the hands or the pass stuck, then they would have scored points. Where with Western Province, it was just consistent. Everyone knows what needs to be done. Everyone knew that I had a role to play, and that was a complete team effort. You know, and it's good to see that a team can just stick to what we want to implement, regardless of what the opposition offers us at any stage in this game. If we can get on top by implementing what we have practiced, what we've worked at for the entire duration of the game, then we'll win, and that was evident in the performance today.
There's just an opportunity missed by Bosch. He makes a wonderful break. Have we got it? I'm not sure from the back. But here you see there's a great counter-attack, really well played. He gets on the outside, makes a searing break. What's important, why isn't he should hold the ball in 2 hands, and he should be looking to his left to see Odwa and Ngani. And when you're talking about opportunities, those are the little opportunities that you want to take in the game. Apart from kicking, you know, he made such a good break. You've just got to turn your head and look for your support and try and pass, and then re-support to get the pass back perhaps afterwards. So it wasn't that he played badly. It was just these half chances weren't taken by the Sharks. When Damian Willemse got the ball, as you so rightly mentioned, and spun out of the tackle, and so he caused a mismatch and was able to pass over the top for Leitz's try. Critical moment in the game. Another little counter-attack from a great scrum. Carr goes away on the blind side and plays and really surges away on the blind side into passing and a great try. And then also when Sinatla manages to round Bosch on the outside, when he's on the blind side wing to protect him defensively. Unfortunately, a one-on-one with an out-and-out winger, You know, he just got round him. Yeah, if we have a look at this, I mean, again, this isn't a bad Shark scrum, but eventually they get a right shoulder. Now have a look at Carr getting away here. And this offload is brilliant. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant in the tackle. But the most important thing of that scrum from Western Province, the right shoulder went forward despite the left side going backwards, which allowed Carr to break against a blindside flanker who's turned away from him. So he had much further to run, the blindside flanker. And Carr was already on the front foot. So have a look at this situation. It's not a good pass. He tries to close him down. He gets handed off. Now, if you give the guy the opportunity to make the inside pass, then unfortunately that is an offload and a line break. And Bosch has to tackle with his shoulder and not with his hands. He goes in with his hands and not his shoulder.
But even on that last one we saw there now is, you know, he gets there, gets there and he stops flat-footed. Now, anyone flat-footed against a Sanatla is going to be beaten. You know, so
keep going forward.
But it is because where he is defending, to defend on the wing versus to defend either at centre or at fly half or even at fullback is completely different. Your positioning, your approach to the ball carrier. And I think perhaps when you shift and try to put him on the outside to protect him defensively or perhaps strategically, it's so critically important to explain what is the requirements, the approach, the way you defend on the wing, because it is a skill in itself to understand that approach to making the tackle. And found wanting twice today that led to tries.
Yeah, but you've got to compliment Robert there to actually do the skip and say to Sanatla, take him on. Man-on-man situation. And for a fly-off to be on the wing, on a man-on-man situation.
Well, Nas, you've seen
99%, you're going to be in trouble because it's as Ashwin just explained, it's a different way of defending. You know?
He's such a good player, Bosch. He is such a good rugby player. But rugby is about with the ball and without the ball. And you've got to be as effective without the ball for your team as you are with the ball. Now, he kicks drops, kicks goals, got a great understanding of attacking play, good passing, but he really does need one-on-one coaching with a defence coach who takes him personally for half an hour, you know, after every practice, not getting him to smash into tackles, but just getting his feet into the right place, his head into the right place. He's fast, so you can close space down, make sure that he tackles below the waist, a Dan Carter defensive tackle. That's all you need to do. You're not asking him to smash the guy back. You're asking him to make sure that you stop your man in the number 10 channel. It's not impossible to do. There's Omar Munaim, who's a fantastic defence coach, who time and time again improved the player on one-on-one. When I was coaching with Italy, he took my Italian players, and honestly, every single one of them improved by 20% because of one-on-one coaching by a top defence coach. So it is possible with Bosch. I think Damian Willemse needs work at it too. He's young as well. But just in terms of anyone who's got a defensive weakness, you can work on it, but you need time and you need a professional guy to help you with it.
Probably better than sticking them away on the blind. We've seen the Aussies do it before with Quade Cooper for many years, and it never really improved his defence.
I'm still, so I don't know, but perhaps I've missed this, but I don't know what's the logic behind shifting your fly half to the wing to go.
Well, like I say, the Aussies do that thing.
It's an admission that he can't tackle.
But I've never heard any of the coaches actually admit that. So we assume that that's perhaps the thing, but I don't know whether they've ever come out to say this is the actual reason as to why we're shifting him to the wing.
But Ashwin, you've defended on the wing, and obviously you have to be a lot more squarer in your shoulders in terms of who you're facing, and you also have to be very wary of the touchline as well. That's not something that comes overnight. If you're not sure how to use the touch line as an extra defender, you're not going to learn it.
You have disqualified yourself as the next best defender.
My application is in. My application's in.
But when we talk defence, I think Cohen Bosch, I think he's more than competent to make a tackle to defend against whomever. But the moment you shift him, you know, the dynamics changes completely. It's now context, because all of a sudden it goes from a particular position into another position. Now it's no longer about whether you can tackle. It's whether or not you understand the defensive requirements of that position. Now, if you're not a wing and you have to go play, if I go to fly half, whether I can tackle or not tackle, but for me to understand how to defend from number 10 is different, you know, and that is something where my question is just why shift him in the first place? Why? Because that brings so much confusion to his game. The guy is probably one of the best fly-ups in the country. We see him whenever he's ball in hand. We had a long discussion in the build-up between the comparison Robert de Beer, Cohen Bosch, what they bring to the game. And we talked about Cohen Bosch's ability to exploit any defensive weakness, and he's proven that, shown that. Now, if we shift him away, we affect his game at number 10. And my question is, why?
Right, well, let's go back to Growth Point, Kings Park, where our teammates are standing by. There's still so much to talk through, and we've only been touching on particularly Cohen Bosch. I think that's because there's been so much focus on the young man, and we want to see him go. While other names have come up on social media, and hopefully time will permit to talk about the likes of Nizam Kaur, who really had a blustering game today. But Owen Gumane, Victor Matfield and Jean de Villiers have been up and about on the pitch after that match and caught some reactions from, I think, in particular, the winners.
What an occasion it was. Team down in Joburg and then starting to drizzle down here. But Western Province crowned champions of the Currie Cup. Great game. Game of two halves. If anything, I think that the way they approached second half, just the way they're supposed to have started this game.
Yeah, I think throughout, Province sort of had the upper hand as well. The first half, they didn't manage to secure their own ball from a kickoff point of view. So they made mistakes when they were kicked onto them. And the Sharks scored from that. Second half, they fixed that. And there was really only one team in the second half. So a lot of credit must go to the Western Province coaching team, the way they performed, the way they planned for this. And yeah, I'm sure they'll be very happy tonight.
Victor, I've got to take you back just before the game. Right behind us, Western Province Scrum was warming up. You said this is the last time they go forward. It was totally different during the game.
It might be. I said it might be. No, I must eat my words. Yeah. Tonight, I think a guy like Wilco Lowe showed he might be the guy to start for the Springboks in that number 3 jersey. Yeah. The front row of the Western Province was just outstanding. The way they played, and I must say the whole pack. They started mauling well. They just had the dominance the whole game. I must say I was very impressed by the forwards of Western Province, and they won the game for Western Province.
Oh, look, we'll find one of the assistant coaches of Western Province. Hanyane Shimange, firstly, congrats. There's the mic there from Jean de Villiers. How does it feel, my man?
Yeah, it's an incredible feeling. Look, I never had the chance to win it as a player.
Yeah.
But it's a bit more stressful as a coach, I must say. So it was good fun, good second half from us, but we're a happy bunch at the moment.
I think the biggest question from us is the way you started very slow. We saw a different team in the second half. What were the words at halftime?
Look, we're pretty calm and composed at halftime. We spoke about sort of limiting our errors. We had opportunities in the first half, but it would be a knock-on and contact, a penalty here, there. So we realized Sharks are strong off set piece. If we could starve them of that and get them into general play, it would be a lot better.
Shims, tell me about your scrums. I know you want to talk about it. You must have loved that up in the box.
Yeah, look, I'm lucky. We've got 2 very good props, Victor. I mean, Wilco Lowe, he's been on form the whole season. And he's been good along with JC Jansen from Rensburg, France, who will also be a good prop. So we were good there. We trained well throughout the week, so we're pretty proud of that scrum performance.
And the line-outs itself, the maul, second half, you just dominated them up front.
Yeah, Vic, once we started getting a bit of a lead, we sort of wanted to tie it up a bit. So we used our driving more to try more penalties and get downfield. So that was a strategy in the second half. It worked nicely. It's a good feeling when it works.
No, I must say, again, congratulations. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to know.
Thank you very much.
What are we going to put in there, brother? It's empty at the moment. Talk us through the evening. What is the celebration?
Definitely not water, I'll tell you that.
Can I ask a favour? Can they ask John to join them so he can just have one sip out of the Currie Cup for once?
I feel you guys are picking on me a bit, but Shimmy, congratulations. Great effort. Robert de Beer, just tell us about his sort of impact on this game today.
Yeah, pure leadership. I think in terms of game management, he was world class. He's a good guy. He's a loud mouth in the change room. Yeah, talking about you. But he's been good. He will be missed, as we know that he's coming down here. But he will be missed up in Cape Town, and what a way to send the boy off, eh? It's not official yet, sorry, I don't know that, okay?
But Shimmy, congratulations, enjoy tonight. We've had enough of you, enjoy it with the boys. Rob, what a game.
Yeah, geez, I'm just stoked that we can end off like that, and I can end off the way we did. I've lost 3 finals under Derby and Dobbo, so to win this 4th one is huge. I'm really, really happy.
The big question is the second half, the way you guys started and the way you finished off. What was the difference?
Yeah, look, I think the first half we actually started off quite lateral. They actually, that first bit of play, they actually defended us quite well. And I think also the wind had a big factor to play again this week, as it did 2 weeks ago. First half we were against the wind, and second half we had a bit of the wind behind our back. So I think that also had a role to play. But yeah, we just said to ourselves, we've got 40 minutes and then it's ours, the cup's ours.
You say you're going to leave a group of youngsters behind. I mean, what has really stood out for you in Western Province? What's coming through there? Any special players you think, geez, if I'm going to take these guys with me?
Yeah, geez, I mean, Damien Willems, he's mercurial. I think he's a really, really good talent for the future, and I know he'll do really well at Province and Stormers in the future.
Robbie, coming home, let's talk about this hairstyle. You know it's not going to fit in here. And Durban, everybody's got that military cut. So off to the barber, I hope.
No, I actually think this will suit Durban quite a bit, the whole surface lifestyle. No, I'm kidding. I don't know why I'm growing it. I'm just growing it for the fun of it. There's no reason, just growing it, I guess.
Rob, a totally different question. I saw you run onto the field for the warm-up and went straight to your dad and sort of gave him a hug. And, you know, there was a bit of a family atmosphere in this whole game. What effect did it have when you saw John Luke get injured? Did it affect you at all, or was it sort of just, you know the job you have to do and just stick to that?
Yeah, look, obviously him going off, big loss for the Sharks as well. Yeah, obviously I feel really, really sorry for him, and it kind of does hit me. But I mean, like you said, there was a job at hand, and we still had to carry on going with that. Obviously, it was kind of good for us, him going off. He's one of their big players. But yeah, geez, I just wish him a speedy recovery, and I hope it's not that bad.
No, we sure also hope so. But Rob, unbelievable effort. Whatever happens from here, whether we see you in Durban or whether we see you back in Cape Town, all the very best, and enjoy the celebrations with the boys tonight. Cheers.
Well, let's quickly touch up on then Jacques-Luc Dupré. The report that came out when he went into the tunnel, it was his ankles, his ligaments sprained, looking to 3 to 4 weeks, but they'll get a confirmation later on today, or even later, I think Monday, we'll get a detailed medical report. Gents, John Dobson. Yeah, coming through the ranks as a young coach, under 21s has won that. He's won the Varsity Cup, you know, a Vodacom Cup, Currie Cup. Now, even the SuperSport Rugby Challenge, I mean, the young coaches are there, Victor.
Yes, I must say he's doing fantastically well, and I think this whole coaching team with Shumi coming in. But the one guy I actually said beforehand that doesn't give a lot of credit is Gert Smal. He's director of rugby there. They've won quite a few trophies, and they're doing well. I wonder what his hand is in that. But Dobson, fantastic for him to win all those trophies. There must be something special in him as a coach.
Yeah, knowing Dobbo quite well as well. You know, he's big again on team culture. You know, he likes a happy team. He takes them away quite often just for sort of socials and getting the boys together. And yes, it is about training hard, but it's about having a band of brothers off the field as well, and that is very big for him. So I can assure you that these guys really do play for the coaches as well. And it's not just Dobbo, it's the whole coaching structure, Davie Snyman, Shimmy, you know, all the guys involved. So credit must go to him, the way that he kept everyone together, the way that they planned for this game, and also sort of the structures that they have in place now at Western Province and the Stormers. Robbie Fleck, Russell Winter, everyone involved.
Johnny, I want to come in. I actually saw the players jumping on Davie Snyman when they came in, so it looks like they really like him. What's his role in the team? I don't really know.
Yes, so backline and attacking coach, and you know, Davie's sort of that guy that's been doing the skills coaching and skills training way before we actually started saying this is the way we need to go. So he's been doing it for a while. He's been really successful. He works with the sevens guys as well. So again, one for the future. And I think as a combination, they really work well together. This whole coaching group that they've got here with Western Province.
Yeah, well, it just shows that the results are also winning the under-21s Western Province. Some of the standout players, Nizam Carl was strong. We've spoken to Robert Dupré as well. I think just the way that they really get going. But for me, the guy in a losing team, you know, a Cohen Bosch, a number of mistakes today, but he can manage the game. He managed to build some scoreboard pressure at times, Victor.
Yeah, he managed it well in the first half. But again, he's only 20 years old, and he's still got quite a bit to learn, I think. Can John just touch that? Sorry, can John
he's joined us now. Nizam Carl, 8th man of the Western Province, winner of the Currie Cup. Nizam, feeling good?
Yeah, obviously it's a massive win for us here to come up and play in the Shark Tank. I'm really proud of the boys, the way they stood up today. Everyone worked hard, 100%. We did our job. As we got a message also from John, know your job and do your job. And I think everyone executed very well today.
Talk about execution, the scrum, it's going backwards against the grain. The break, what was going through your mind as you ran down there?
Yeah, look, the ball just popped out and I saw there's no one in front of me. I thought, let me just attack and see what happens. And obviously the offload was on to Corbus and I gave it to him. So luckily it worked for us, and it's good for us going forward.
Very close up. Please, do you mind allowing Jean de Villiers to hold the Currie Cup?
Just for
He's a province man through and through. Bring the microphone.
No,
please.
I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that.
Have a go, brother.
Nizam, let me ask you. I mean,
I'll join you.
You obviously, you're a very talented player with ball in hand, and you're a guy that makes good decisions more times than not. And that's why just instinctively you made that decision. But what effect and does the coaches play? What role does the coaches play in your decision making? And certainly these guys that's coaching you guys at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I think with Dobson and also Davy Snyman, they gave us, a lot of license to play with the ball. Defensively, we had our men that could defend. But I mean, for me, they gave me the license to do whatever I want. And, I quite enjoy doing that role in this team. There's a lot of players who don't like to be put into a box, and that's definitely one I see myself. So, yeah, it's good that they have the license to play.
Well, Nizam, now I'm going to put everybody in the box. About the license, I'm taking in charge of the driver. See, gentlemen in the studio from the Three Musketeers. It's been an awesome day. It's been an outstanding season. From the test matches, the three of us have always been in the corner. It's been a privilege. I think from Jean de Villiers, Victor Matfield, thank you so much, Klola, and the team in Randburg. I think the last 80 minutes of rugby in South Africa, we've thoroughly enjoyed it. Till next year, we'll get back to the 15s. But first up, it will be the 7s in Cape Town.
Well, thanks very much for that, guys. Wonderful to see the players just walk into shot there, unannounced, but that's fantastic. Myself and Aaron asked, in terms of rugby finals, is this not a hiding? It was an 18-point margin, and I can confirm, biggest winning margin between the sides in a Currie Cup final is 20 points. So, yes, it was actually quite lopsided and so far as finals go. But there is a Springbok team announcement, which is going to be made tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and it will be done online. You can also catch the announcement on SuperSport Blitz. That's Sunday, that's tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of chatter about the players who made it in, and one or two injured players as well who can't go now. But this is confirmation of that Castle Lager outgoing tour. Ireland first at Aviva Stadium in Dublin, and Stade de France in Paris. It's going to be in Padova, where they take on the Italians, and they'll finish off in Cardiff at the Principality Stadium against Wales on the 2nd of December. But really going to be interesting to see what Alistair Coetzee and his Chargers can do on that tour. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Certainly was an exciting final to watch. A big well done to Western Province as well. It was very well deserved, and you'd have to say the Sharks as well will be disappointed today, but they've had a phenomenal season in Currie Cup, losing only 2 matches in the round robin stages, and of course the one that counted, but hopefully they won't be too disappointed going into
just a final word. Odward Ndungani, fantastic career in South African rugby. Sad way to finish, to not win the game, but he's been a great servant of South African rugby. And just from my point of view, Doc Moss, great life.
Absolutely. So an eventful day all round. Thank you for joining us. Watch out for the Bok team announcement tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll be hearing us talk on the various magazine shows about it very soon. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.